Hello and welcome to the news desk. I am Chukwuyenum Onwuka. First, the headlines. NIDCOM urges South Africa to protect Nigerians, other African migrants amid xenophobic attacks. Federal government condemns killing of Mali's Minister of Defense, Sadio Kamara. Kenya welcomes critically endangered antelopes from Czech Republic. Kim Jong-un hails soldiers who killed themselves to avoid Ukraine capture. Details shortly.
As the news drops, it breaks with us. Join us for news on the hour every hour. News desk at 12 noon, Metro News at 4 p.m. Enjoy infotainment, breaking and sports news at their best 24/7.
This is Ray Power FM News.
And now the news in detail. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission has urged the South African government to urgently protect Nigerians and other African migrants amid rising reports of xenophobic attacks, intimidation, and harassment in parts of the country. In a statement signed by its chairman, CEO Abike Dabiri Erewa, the commission expressed concern that tensions targeting black immigrants were worsening despite earlier diplomatic engagements between both countries. NIDCOM said it was receiving reports that children of Nigerian descent were now afraid to attend school, while business owners were reportedly shutting shops over fears of targeted attacks, looting, and harassment. It also said community leaders had documented fresh incidents of violence within the last 72 hours. The commission called on the South African authorities to take immediate steps to safeguard foreign nationals, stressing that such protection was required under international law and African Union protocols. The federal government of Nigeria has condemned the killing of Mali's Minister of Defense and Veterans Affairs, Sadio Kamara, describing the incident as tragic and destabilizing for the West African region. In a statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja, spokesperson Kimebi Ebianfa said Nigeria expresses deep condolences to the bereaved family, the Malian armed forces, and the government and people of Mali following the terrorist attacks of April 25th. The government noted that the killing comes at a critical time for Mali, stressing that such acts of violence highlights the fragility of peace and the urgent need for stronger regional cooperation. Nigeria reaffirmed its solidarity with Mali, citing shared African values of unity, resilience, and collective security. The federal government also condemned the recent attacks in Mali, which have resulted in the loss of lives and destruction of property. The statement emphasized that terrorism remains a common enemy, requiring coordinated international efforts, sustained collaboration, and a unified resolve to confront. Gunmen attacked a Christ Apostolic Church in Eda Oniyo Ekiti, Ilejimeje, local government area of Ekiti State, killing a pastor and abducting an unspecified number of worshippers. The attack, which occurred around 8:30 p.m. yesterday during a church program, has thrown the community into panic, with residents expressing fears of a rising insecurity in the area. Sources in the community said the assailants, who were armed and arrived in numbers, stormed the church located on the outskirts of the town, shot the pastor dead, and whisked away several worshippers into a nearby forest. One of the sources, who spoke on condition of anonymity for security reasons, said efforts were ongoing to determine the exact number of abducted victims. The Federal Ministry of Health, through the National Malaria Elimination Program, has called on Nigerians to actively prevent the scourge of malaria by sleeping in insecticide-treated nets, ensuring clean surroundings, and getting tested and fully treated when the symptoms manifest. Speaking during the press briefing and roundtable discussion to commemorate the 2026 Malaria Day, Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaq Salako, said Nigeria is treating malaria elimination as an urgent national priority. Hence, it is backing that commitment with concrete action, strategic partnerships, and renewed determination.
One of such commitments, according to him, is the development of a new robust National Malaria Strategic Plan 2026 to 2030, grounded in sub-national tailoring so that interventions are designed to reflect the realities of different states and communities. He also said the federal government will implement the seasonal malaria chemo prevention across the 21 eligible states, comprising all 19 northern states, the Federal Capital Territory, and Oyo State.
Through these efforts, we aim to provide malaria preventive medicine to approximately 29 million children under the age of 5. I think we should clap for Mr. President. With this, we will be delivering one of the largest child-focused malaria prevention efforts on the continent and reflecting our resolve to protect those at the greatest risk. We are also pioneering new frontiers. Our process to pilot lava source management for the first time in 6 states of Abia, Borno, Ekiti, Lagos, Ogun Rivers have advanced significantly. This marks an important step in diversifying our malaria control tools and addressing mosquito breeding site at source through targeted evidence-based environmental intervention.
National Coordinator of the National Malaria Elimination Program, Dr. Nnenna Ogbolafo, noted that in order to consolidate on the successes that resulted in the 15% decline of malaria prevalence in Nigeria in 2025, the ministry adopted a multi-sectorial approach to develop a roadmap.
One key thing that we have done is to look at multi-sectorial. We have realized that it says it's science. Anyway, it's not realizing it, that's science. That Ministry of Health cannot eliminate malaria. Only Ministry of Health cannot eliminate malaria. It's already done in countries that have eliminated malaria. So we have rolled in multi-sectorial discussion on malaria. So we have Ministry of Environment, Defense, Science and Technology, all of these ministries, Women Affairs, so we're all working together. Everybody is now beginning to understand their roles. We've developed a roadmap for all of us, these ministries, in terms of multi-sectorial, so that all hands are on deck, especially the fact that burden is being reduced to 15% prevalence.
The theme for this year's World Malaria Day is driven to end malaria. Now we can, now we must. Ehi Ankili Ocheme, Ray Power News, Abuja.
The Kaduna State government
One of
has
such
begun
commitments,
distributing
according to
100
him,
specialized
is the
wheelchairs
development
to
of a
children
new
with
robust
mobility
National
impairment
Malaria
as
Strategic
part of
Plan
efforts to promote
2026 to
inclusion
2030,
and improve their quality
grounded
of
in
life.
sub-national
Abimbola
tailoring
Moses
so
continues
that
to say.
interventions are designed to reflect the realities of different states and communities. He also said the federal government will implement the seasonal malaria chemo prevention
Sorry for
across
that
the
mix-up.
21
Away
eligible
from that,
states,
you are listening to the
comprising
news
all
desk
19
on
northern
Power
states,
100.5
the Federal
FM.
Capital
I'll bring you
Territory,
that
and
bulletin
Oyo
and
State.
reports in our
Through these efforts, we
In the
aim to
news,
provide
Newcom
malaria
urges South
preventive
Africa
medicine.
to protect Nigerians, other African migrants amid xenophobic attacks. Federal government condemns killing of Mali's Minister of Defense, Sadio Kamara. And still to come, Kenya welcomes critically endangered antelopes from Czech Republic. Kim Jong-un hails soldiers who killed themselves to avoid capture by Ukraine. Plus business, entertainment, sports and weather. Do stay with us.
As the news drops, it breaks with us. Join us for news on the hour every hour. News desk at 12 noon, Metro News at 4 p.m. Enjoy infotainment, breaking and sports news at their best 24/7.
This is Ray Power FM News.
And now the rest of the news. 4 mountain bongos, a rare type of antelope native to Kenya's highland forest, have arrived in Kenya after being sent from a zoo in the Czech Republic. The male antelopes arrived in the country last night and were welcomed at Nairobi's main airport by Kenya's foreign and tourism ministers, along with other officials. They have since been moved to a private wildlife reserve in central Kenya. The Kenya Wildlife Service hailed the historic homecoming of the antelopes as a meaningful step to their recovery in the wild. From about 500 in the 1970s, fewer than 100 are estimated to remain in the wild. Kim Jong-un has praised North Korean soldiers who killed themselves by detonating their grenades while fighting for Russia against Ukraine, confirming a long-suspected battlefield policy. In a speech this week, the North Korean leader said those who unhesitantly opted for self-blasting suicide attack in order to defend the great honor were heroes. South Korea estimates that at least 15,000 North Koreans have been sent to help Russia recapture parts of western Kursk, and more than 6,000 have been killed so far. Neither Pyongyang nor Moscow has confirmed the numbers. Intelligence agencies and defectors have said that soldiers were under Pyongyang's orders to kill themselves rather than be taken prisoner by Ukraine.
And now, a business update from Ray Power 100 FM.
Oil prices rose nearly 3% today, with the Brent contract hitting a one-month high on media reports that the U.S. will extend its blockade of Iranian ports, likely prolonging supply disruptions from the key Middle East producing region. Brent crude futures for June rose 2.8% to $114.34 per barrel, climbing for an eighth day to the highest since March 31st. U.S. West Texas Intermediate futures for June rose 2.8% to $102.68 a barrel, the highest since April 13th. Data from the central bank showed that the Naira extended its decline, closing at 1,383 Naira per dollar yesterday, as renewed pressure in the foreign exchange markets coincided with a further dip in Nigeria's external reserves. The latest movement comes amid a mixed global currency environment, where the US dollar strengthened ahead of a closely watched Federal Reserve policy decision, and ongoing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East continue to support safe haven demands.
This is entertainment news on Ray Power 100.5 FM.
The U.S. Federal Communications Commission is urging an early review of Disney's television broadcast licenses days after President Donald Trump called for the firing of late-night host Jimmy Kimmel. Trump had urged ABC, whose parent company is Disney, to pull Kimmel's show after the comedian joked that Melania Trump glowed like an expectant widow. Kimmel made the remarks days before a gunman fired shots at a gala attended by the Trumps. In an order, the FCC said it had been investigating Disney's ABC stations for possible violations, including unlawful discrimination.
Ray Power Sport.
Super Falcons goalkeeper Chiamaka Nnadozie has expressed disappointment over the postponement of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The tournament, initially scheduled for March 13th to April 3rd, has been rescheduled by the Confederation of African Football to July 25th to August 16th. The competition has experienced disruptions in recent editions following the cancellation of the 2020 tournament, while the 2024 edition was held in 2025.
Ray Power weather.
Partly cloudy skies are expected across most parts of Nigeria this afternoon, with chances of isolated thunderstorms in northern cities, including Kano, Sokoto, and Maiduguri. The north-central region, including Abuja and Lokoja, may experience scattered showers later in the day. In the south, Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Calabar are expected to have cloudy conditions with light to moderate rainfall. Daytime temperatures will range between 30 and 35 degrees Celsius nationwide. And now the last line. In the words of Lao Tzu, an ancient Chinese philosopher, do the difficult things while they are easy, and do the great things while they are all small. The journey of 1,000 miles must begin with the first step. And that's it for the news desk, as produced by Idmachi Ikechukwu. I am Chukwuyenum Onwaka. News on the hour comes up at 1 p.m. And remember, you can watch us on YouTube at Ray Power 100.5 FM. Good afternoon.
Providing 360 degrees of information.